Okay, hey everyone, I'm Keisha White, founder and creative director at White House Branding Studio. We help companies create a lead generating digital presence that attracts high caliber clients and opportunities. If you want to work together for branding, website design, or even SEO, make sure you click the link in the description with this video and you'll be able to get all the details on working together. So today I'm going to talk about a past client project that's one of my favorite rebrands that I've ever done. This one is for a business called Reimagine Talent Company. And rebrands are always a favorite of mine because oftentimes when a business comes to me for this, they are on a path of growth and they're kind of in this preparation mode to prepare their business for where they ultimately want to go over the long term. And they're kind of in like this next level growth type of mode. And they've already gotten a lot of momentum in their business already, but they're just ready to kind of match their level of expertise and then their future vision for their business. Just want to match how the business looks to their current level of expertise and to that future vision, because a lot of times businesses may start out with a DIY website that's really popular, or they may get a cheaper website that they got done on a really tight budget because the business was new. But once clients get to a certain point, like when your business is more established and there's a certain level that you're trying to reach, that DIY older website doesn't really fit where your business is going to go. And it can actually kind of hold a lot of businesses back because it'll give off the wrong perception that your business is new and that you're just getting started and you don't have a lot of experience. So a lot of times when clients come to me for that rebrand, they know these things and they know they don't want to be perceived as a beginner or as an amateur at what they do. And they're ready to get that authoritative brand that looks very polished and professional and a lot more put together and a lot more elevated to give them the authority that they need to go after bigger opportunities and to continue along their path of growing their business. And another thing with rebrands too, a lot of times clients want something that's authentic to them. This was the case really with this project too. They wanted something that was in alignment with what makes them different and special as a business. So it has a very unique look for their industry, the look that we landed on here. So it was very fun to work on. And we ended up with a very pretty unique look that is very custom to them. So that's why a lot of times people want to rebrand because they want to stand out in their industry. They want to look that's special, that's customized. They don't want to blend in with the crowd and look basic like everybody else. So I'm going to go through the story of how we did this rebrand. And first, I want to talk about what the company does. So, Real You Leadership Development Company, their mission is to kind of close the intersectional leadership and wage gap for BIPOC professionals. And the firm is led by Nadia De Ela, and the firm offers workshops, manager trainings, leadership coaching, and programs that empower leaders and companies to create equitable and inclusive spaces. And even before they worked with me for the rebrand, they were on their upward trajectory and had successfully partnered with companies like Google, Meta, or Facebook, and Amazon. And they have really been making an impact already. They had already been making an impact to drive that meaningful change. And so the reason why they wanted to rebrand was because their company was at the point where they were gaining a lot of momentum with booking corporate workshops and trainings. And they realized that their previous website and branding were not effectively positioning them to attract more of those, like that higher caliber corporate client. And so they just really wanted a new brand that would reflect their values, that would be eye-catching, that would be very unique to them and allow their personality and their approach to come out. Excuse me. And they also wanted to stay very appealing to corporate decision makers. And then during the time when they were rebranding too, they were also doing a name change for their business. So prior to rebranding, the business's name was under Nadia's name. She had it under her name. And she wanted to rebrand from her name to a company name, like a business name, which was Real You Leadership. So it went from Nadia De Ela to Real You Leadership. So they were going through a name change too. So when they worked with me, they ended up doing copywriting. So I had a professional copywriter come in on this project. So we did the copywriting with the brand strategy. The copywriter does an excellent job at that with helping people clarify those things that make them different, with getting an understanding of what they do. And they just really bring their personality and their voice to life through the copy on the page. And then they also got new brand identity design. So that was like completely new color palette, logos, font pairing, accent pattern, a full brand style guide that was going to be appropriate for real you leadership. And then they also, of course, got a new full website designed to show off all of their offers as well. So the process of how we got into the design process, I'm going to pull that up. And these are actually on my case studies page on my website too. So to go into the process, the beginning piece, we always kick off in the beginning with the brand strategy piece. So whenever I'm doing brand identity design work, it always comes with brand strategy. And again, brand strategy is just really getting a clear understanding of what makes your business special and what makes you different. It's also getting an understanding of who are the target clients that you want to reach, and what are their issues, what are their problems, what are their personalities like. So we, as designers and copywriters, can have a super clear understanding of it, and we can design and write based on what's going to appeal to your target clients. And then during the strategy process, we also like to know, where are you headed as a company? Like, what are you trying to attract in? Like, what kinds of opportunities? What are the ideal clients? Are you trying to get into a certain industry or get more work in a certain industry? And so we really, really like to just dig into all about where's the business headed, what makes you different, what's your personality, what do you bring to the business, and that allows us to develop all of our creative ideas. So I always recommend for people, if you were going to get any branding work done, never, ever, ever skip the strategy part, because when people skip the strategy piece, that's when they have a cookie cutter look that looks just like everybody else. But with the brand strategy session, we are able to get information that gives us some insight into you and into your company and your business. So this way we can make something that is very special and custom to you, that's going to look like nobody else in your industry and really help you stand out and make a splash in your industry. So we started off with that strategy session, and since they were doing professional copywriting, we try to consolidate with that call. So instead of doing a strategy session with me and the copywriter, I just, in this case, allowed the copywriter to handle it, because we ask pretty much the same questions, and we don't want clients to have to do 2 different strategy sessions to answer the same questions. So Courtney did our strategy session. She was the copywriter who was in on this project, and then she hands over the notes for that to me. And during the strategy session, she tapped into the personality of Real You leadership, and it really gave us those insights to inform the direction of the brand. And then once she passed over the notes to me from the copy session, she ends up going on ahead to do the writing. So she'll get started on the research for what she needs to do for the copywriting. And then once she finishes the research, she'll be writing that first draft. And then simultaneously, while she is doing that, then I get started on the brand identity design process. And so we kind of work in tandem at the same time, with her doing the writing and me doing the designing. And about at the same time, once she finishes that first draft, and then once I finish the brand style guide, then we're ready for the website building process. So she got started writing, and while she was writing, I designed the mood boards and the color palette. So this is an example of a mood board. And so a mood board is essentially a collage of images that illustrates the look and feel that a business is going to have. And so always you want a cohesive look and feel that really is unique to you. And I'm zooming out a bit so you can see the whole mood board in the screen share. I think you should be able to see it now. So with this mood board, we were going for a very fresh, welcoming, like young type of vibe. We wanted it to feel a little bit fresh and just kind of bohemian and non-traditional too, because they were very big on people being able to thrive as their authentic selves in the corporate world. Like, you don't have to go in there and be all stuffy and uptight and super buttoned up to be able to succeed in corporate. Like, they were about, like, you can be your real self essentially, which is why the name was really leadership. But they were like, yes, you can be your real self, you can be relaxed, you can be humorous, and you can still thrive, you can succeed in corporate. So, and the business is also geared towards women as well, so they had a really strong focus on women. So that's why the mood board also feels a little bit feminine too. And so we had the gold and yellow, which represents like that joy and that optimism. And then the sunshine rays kind of represent like the new beginnings that their clients are going to have once they get these good insights from them. Then we have a woman here, like being a successful leader at work, a young woman of color, because they had a very strong focus on BIPOC women. And then this is the clients here. They did a great job with their brand photo shoot, because I recommended for their brand photo shoot that they use like neutral locations and then kind of relax with professional clothing, which was perfect. They did an excellent job, knocked that out of the park. And then just general office settings was also something that could be incorporated, but I wanted them to feel very bright and airy and kind of relaxed, like not your traditional black and white and gray corporate cubicle office. Like, this is supposed to be a fresh, fun, welcoming type of office. And then with the color palette, again, yellow, joy, optimism. We wanted a kind of blue and green here because green represents that growth. Blue represents that trustworthiness and professionalism. And then rust is sort of, this is the rust color. It's sort of in that orange family. So the rust definitely helped represent like being a little unconventional and just doing things your way and feeling very energetic. So this overall was meant to still be professional, but to give off that fun, laid back, approachable personality that the business owners had. So to me, this really, really did that justice for sure. So once the mood board and color palette were selected, then the next stage is the logo design stage. And I always do the mood board first when it comes to the design, because we have to establish the colors first. We have to establish the direction. And one little piece I forgot to mention in the mood board is the font. So this brand, we ended up using a fun, like vintage style, thick, heavyweight font like that, because that felt very modern, very bohemian. It feels very fun, but it still has good, crisp, practical letters that you can actually easily skim and read. So this font was definitely a part of the inspiration for the brand that ended up moving into the logo, used in the logo. It was used in logo too. So that is it. So we had the visual direction for the business established. And so once that was established, then we went on to logo design. So the logo, we wanted it to use that bold vintage style font to just feel very approachable, very authentic. And here's a little sample of a sketch from the logo samples. I sketched a bunch of them, but the other ones look pretty crazy. I always start logos on paper, and then I'll move them to Photoshop. And then I usually design everything still in black and white, and then I add the color once I'm kind of feeling good about the designs. Like, color always comes last for me with logos. But first, it starts with really rough sketches like this on paper. And the intention here was to put real you inside of like a semicircle with the word leadership as a part of this semicircle, kind of surrounding real you. I'm not sure why I put on one line right there, because I did not end up designing it like that. I pretty much designed it just like in this sketch. So this was one of the concepts that I sketched out. And for a little bit on the logo process, I always present clients with 4 logo concepts. So they're usually 4 similar but different logo concepts that match the mood board, the look and feel for the brand, and that incorporate the colors from the mood board. And so this gives clients options to select from. And then from there are 2 complimentary revision rounds too, and I believe we probably just use 1 revision round for them, for clients to make any requests on changes that they want to make to the logo. So here is the before and after for the logo design. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, the business was going through a name change when they were rebranding. And so, before the client had the business under her name, which was Nadia De Ayla. And then now it was going to Real You Leadership. So, just like with the sketch, I put Real You inside of the semicircle, and then we have leadership kind of circling around it. And then we use the kind of blue green color from the color palette because that was a very good, bold, eye catching color that feels very nice and professional. Then use that vintage style font for Real You. And then for leadership, used a kind of more crisp, modern font here that still feels nice and elegant. And use this in gold. So this blue with this gold together fits so well together. Very, very good look for a logo that is very, can be used with them for the long term. It can go in a variety of spaces and all of that. And even though this definitely will be able to fit in a lot of spaces, I still also always create alternate logos for clients. So we have some versions with Real You on one line. I didn't include those here in the case study, but I do always design alternate logos too, because I always tell people too, you never want to walk away from a designer with just one version of your logo, because that's going to be very restricting for you. You always want to have alternate versions. So the alternate versions can have the words on one line. It can be in white, because there's also a white version of this too, where I believe leadership I left in gold and Real You I made white, just in case they want to put it on this dark blue-green background. So you always need all of those versions of your logo so you have more versatility to use it in a variety of spaces. Thank you, Trey. Glad you like it. Yeah, this was definitely a fun one. And then here's a little sample of before and after of like how the branding looked in the real world. This was one of her quote graphics that she designed. I think it was a DIY design before they worked with me. So it has the old, her name in it, in that old font that they had before. And then this quote with this blue they used to have. And then after we have the new branding in action with the sun rays on the edge and then the logo up in the corner. And then this font here that is used for this quote, this was their new headline font. So this was a font that I ended up purchasing for them that I used as the headline font in any graphic design that was done for them and on their website. So this complemented their logo very, very well. It really made the words a lot more intriguing and captivating and eye-catching. So yeah, this was a very, very good headline font. So I was excited for them to use it. And then once all the branding stuff was done, next was the website design. So for website design, my first step is to do wireframes. So websites start on paper too, and my sketches for that are always a mess, but I understand it. And I'm able to take it from sketch to the screen because I can never, every now and then I may skip straight to the screen, but I always feel like my work is way, much more stronger because I can flesh my thoughts out of like what I envision the page to be. I can flesh that out better by sketching it on paper before I actually take it to the screen. So I look at the website copy. So by this stage, the copywriter was done writing. I was done with all the brand identity, and they got a whole new brand style guide. And then I ended up looking at the website copy, and then I took that to design website page previews. So this was me sketching out the information that was in the website copy, basically all the little dash lines. I'm sure you can kind of barely see represent paragraphs of text. Like this would be like an image and text. Here's text and then an image, another image. This was to represent company logos. I ended up condensing that down into a slider. And this was like an email opt-in form and text above that, and then an image here. So the little lines represent paragraph text. So I did this to plan out the design for the pages. And then from there, I designed a preview of the pages in a tool called Adobe XD. And so one thing that I really love with that is that clients get to provide feedback before I build the pages out online. So they get 2 complimentary revision rounds for the page design previews. So I designed those previews in Adobe. This is before they even hit the internet. Adobe is just a design tool, so anything can be tweaked or moved around or switched out when we're in that preview stage. So there's no worries of them ending up with like an end result that they don't like or something, or that's a surprise to them. There's no surprises at all because they get to see those previews and then they get to give me their feedback and do 2 complimentary revision rounds if we need it. So I believe with them, we probably just did 1 revision round for them because we switched out a few of the stock pictures because they had some preferences around stock photos. But it was a very easy revision process for this once I finished. And then once we finished all that, then I went ahead and did the live website online. So this site was built out in Squarespace. Now I design everywhere though. I like design Squarespace, WordPress, and Wix, and probably any others because I've been designing so long. They all work so similarly on the back end because I've been designing for almost 10 years. So I pretty much will design anywhere now, but my top 2 are Squarespace and WordPress. Wix is probably 3rd, and then the others I can figure it out pretty easily. So did a redesign because they were actually already on Squarespace before they came to me. So this was their website on Squarespace before coming to me. And then this is the website after. It completely has a new look because on all of the platforms, no matter where I'm designing at, whether it's like I said, Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, I know how to make anything I want on there because I know how to do custom design work. So that's why it just looks totally different because it's not a template. I don't design from templates, which is why I sketch first because I'm sketching based on the website copy. I'm designing based on what's special about their business and what kind of unique look am I trying to create and unique layout for them. And so as we did the layout here, well, I'll give you a little thought process on it. For the Make Your Company an Outstanding Place to Work font, this incorporates that headline font. As you can see, it looks very captivating, very bold at the top. And I use that deep blue-green color. And that makes a very strong first impression. It really draws your eye in on those words. And then we have the nice clean paragraph font. I think that was Century Gothic, I believe, for their paragraph font. And for paragraph, I do tend to like to keep that crisp and clean. Oh, thank you. Glad you like it. But I love to keep the paragraph font crisp, clean, easy to skim. And it complemented the headline font too, because you don't want to do too much with fonts. So having a nice, crisp, simple paragraph font paired with this bold vintage font is perfect. And then for the buttons, I use the rust color in the color palette. So the rust color really makes the buttons pop. It's important in website design for your buttons to have a high contrast against the background, because every now and then I'll see websites where the button color is very similar to the background color, and that's a big mistake, especially when it comes to usability requirements too, because you want people who might be kind of colorblind or something like that to be able to see it. So you don't want that button color and the background color to be too similar because they're going to blend in and people can't see it. So this orange rust color was perfect to make sure the buttons pop against that neutral background. And then also a little note on the background, I wanted it to feel kind of warm too. So I didn't make all the backgrounds like plain white like in the old website. I made it like a light beige. So essentially this was actually the yellow color, the golden yellow, but opaque. It was like a sheer version of the yellow from their color palette. So that made it feel a little more warm and inviting. And then incorporating the sunshine, sun rays symbol as a part of the background too, also made it feel very vibrant, very fresh, very welcoming, to just show that personality part a little bit. And then here's one of their pictures from their brand shoot, and did a little outline around it in white to kind of feel like a snapshot of a photo and tilted it a little bit. So a very, very nice they call this above the fold in web design, above the fold area. And then the logo here in the corner, we have that. And then like I mentioned with the logos, I had them like super individual. This is actually the same section. This is on paper and then this is real life. But I ended up making them a slider to make it a little more concise. So they had a lot of company partners to list here. And I didn't want it to be too long because it would have been like the companies section would have been going way down to where the email sign up section is. So ended up putting just one row of logos with some of the bigger companies in the first row, and then they could click through with the little arrows as a slider to see the rest of them, to just make it a little more neat. And then this section to kind of contrast between the light yellow, we did the deep green as a background for this section. And then back to the light yellow. This was the email sign up section here, and incorporated the little sun rays peeping out behind the back with another tilted image again. And then we have the title of the email download and the description. Then we have a nice gold button here, because I kind of alternated between some gold buttons and some of the rust buttons to kind of jazz it up a bit. And then going into this section, it's about to cut off after this because it's a partial view of the page. But going into this section, to feel that kind of boho, modern, and also a little feminine looking feel, I did some images in this like kind of doorway shape almost, and then layered it with like a little circle that was the rust color. So overall, the page feels very, to me, very dynamic and captivating, because the other one felt very just flat a little bit like with the page before. But this is pretty common, what you see when people DIY, because they are designers, so they don't really know how to make it feel like how things can pop, I guess, against the page. So people tend to make it pretty simple, which is of course fine to get started because it served them well and allowed them to work with all these companies just to get started. But they were on that upward trajectory to continue to grow and get bigger workshops and more speaking engagements. So they were ready for something a little more intriguing. And here's another snapshot of the pages too. I love this section here because I was trying to really call out this quote, because I love what the copywriter wrote here. This might be something that they already had, because one of the pages they had from they recycled the copy from an old sales page, but the rest of it the copywriter wrote. But this quote I love, so I wanted to pull it out in that bold vintage font. And then I love this ready for more section here. With this girl in the office, kind of like she's excited about her future and the great things that are coming ahead for her. I had to call that out as a full width section, because sometimes I love to design things like that, like a full, where the image takes up the full space to really call attention to a certain quote or a certain statement. That's a powerful statement. And then we did use this cursive. This was an accent font that was chosen for this brand too. And the accent font, I wanted it to feel like a casual handwritten note. So that was used in a few places in the rust color, and then also in the white, because in the companies we partnered with was in the accent font too. And one more thing with me on accent fonts, I use those very sparingly, because if you overdo it with those, it takes away from their essence, from like them actually looking good. They can tend to get a little tacky if you do too much with accent fonts, so you just want to use those sparingly. And then the footer design, I love the footer design for this site too, because in the footer I did the white version of the logo, and then we have the navigation links again and a gold separator line, and then in the cursive font, it's very small so you can't see, but in the cursive font we have their phrase again: make your company an outstanding place to work for BIPOC professionals. And then, and one last little thing for the bullet points, I did like a star, a golden star for the bullet points, to just really make it feel unique to them and to make it feel special too. So I love the golden star bullet points in the design too. So overall, this was just a very special custom design that really spoke to their personality, and that just really, really helps them stand out and appeal to the corporate clients, and then also the career coaching clients. They do a bit of both, like career coaching to individual women, and then also the corporate client side where they come in and do workshops and speaking engagements and things like that. And so since working together, they have gone on to continue to get those corporate clients and career coaching clients. I recently checked their stats in the analytics and saw that their conversion rate for the contact form is very, very good at 11.2%. That's actually very high and way above average. And it's been definitely helping them and supporting them in their revenue goals. They've been able to use their branding on social media, because I do see them post quotes and stuff from time to time with the new branding on it. And then, of course, in proposals, when people get brand identity work done, they use it on their proposals too. too that they're submitting to corporate. And it just really supports them in anything that they need to promote and market their business overall. So everything has a cohesive look no matter where they're marketing themselves. And that's something that really makes a company feel a lot more like an authority in their industry when everything has a cohesive, uniform look, just like a large corporation would. So I always tell small business owners, like, just because you're a small business owner, that doesn't mean you have to have this discombobulated brand with stuff that doesn't even fit together. You can have a cohesive look too. And that starts with having brand identity guidelines, which has your color palette, your mood board, your logos, your accent pattern, accent font, and all of those things, and an accent pattern, all those things. And then using that stuff consistently everywhere where you create a marketing related item for your business. So use it on your website, use it on your business cards, use it on your proposal, use it on your letterhead, like whatever you have, your PowerPoint slides. A lot of clients have done that. Their media kits, a lot of them have used it there. So anywhere where you are representing your business in a visual form, use the same items, and it gives you a lot more authority as a company. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Wanted to talk a bit about the behind the scenes of a rebrand. I love doing rebrands. Again, I do branding, of course, for new businesses that are just starting from scratch. Like, it still is a good idea to get branding done even when you're new, so you don't have to worry about it later. But if you have been in business for a while and you're ready for that new look, rebrands are always fun to do, because I love looking at the before and after side by side. That's one of my favorite things. I'm like, whoa, this is such a great difference, and excited for them to go out and use their new brand. So if you want to work together, whether you want branding and a website for a new business or you want to rebrand for an existing business, make sure you click the link in the description with this video, and you can get info on working together. You can see a few more case studies. I've done a lot of projects over the years, but I only have 4 in here so far. That's all I've had time to do for case studies. But there's 4 case studies in there on my website, and you can click the link in the description to see those. And you can get all the info on working together, and you can schedule a complimentary strategy session to talk about working together too. So thanks so much for checking out the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.